Hello and welcome to Yodo. Today we're going to talk about inclement weather and how you prepare for inclement weather when you've got a loved one that has serious illness. We all worry about inclement weather periodically anyway, but if you've got someone in your home that's seriously ill and you have them on hospice, there's good news. You already have somebody that's going to be a great resource and help you prepare for that storm. Speak with the hospice agency and find out what services they provide and how they will help you prepare, and if they will provide evacuation services. If they do, typically it's just for the patient, but sometimes other family members may be included. They possibly will even assist you with a pet, but that varies company to company, so check with them first. Inclement weather could be anything from a hurricane, rain, flood, maybe a snowstorm, possibly forest fire. So sometimes you'll want to stay home and you need to hunker down, and other times evacuation will be required. Depending on what services your loved one needs, they may not be able to hunker down. They may be required to be evacuated. Being informed is the first step to being prepared. Know your area. If you've been there a while, you probably know your area well, and you probably know the resources, and you probably know your storm season. If you're new to an area, then you're going to want to reach out to various people to find out about the storm season. And a good first starting place is your local power company, because they have really good resources to help you prepare for the storm. Homeowners associations that have information, or your neighborhood has a Facebook page, but for sure talk to friends, talk to neighbors, talk to your local clubs and organizations, and reach out and find out what storm resources for preparedness they offer. I do provide a few links below on storm information, but you can also sign up for updates on your phone, so your phone will provide updates if a storm is pending on your area. In the process of communicating with your power service, even if you're just looking up online, make sure that your phone has the most accurate phone numbers for contact and how to report an outage, and make sure that you have your account number in your phone, and maybe save those on a piece of paper for a list that you're going to build and put into your storm kit. And we'll talk more about the storm kit later. But having those numbers, whether it's the phone number or the account number, having those listed separate for access is always handy, because what if something happens to your phone, either you lose power or your phone gets damaged? It's nice to have a backup and have that in a place where it's accessible. It's also worthy to know your flood zone, and your homeowner's insurance company is going to be a good resource. They'll be able to tell you what your risk is for flood. It's a good idea to prepare before the storm, so you're going to have a plan for the family, and you're going to communicate with everybody in the family and update it annually, because things do change. You're going to want to include the people in your plan as well as the pets that are in your home, and know who's responsible for what duties in that plan. Make sure everybody's got their phone information current and up to date, and they know where the meeting place is if somebody's out and doesn't make it home before the storm. And it's nice to have a third party, so that if cell signal goes down in a particular area, you can reach somebody that's family member or friend that's not in the same storm zone as you are, so that everybody has a third person that they can contact and communicate with. When you communicate with your hospice provider, you're going to want to find out what services they provide, what's their evacuation plan, what if you have medications that need to be refrigerated. How would you manage that if there was a power outage? Find out how many days of medication they will provide ahead of time, and will they ensure that those medications are in the home before the storm arrives. If someone requires oxygen, have you communicated with your power company to find out, are you on a priority list? Some companies do provide a priority to reestablish services, but some are not able to make that promise. But it is nice to reach out to the power company and let them know if someone in the home is dependent on an oxygen concentrator. Maybe they're dependent on a power mobility device that has a battery that needs to be charged, or maybe they need like a Hoyer lift to help them get up, and a lift device that runs on electrical power, and they'll have to have a plan for how you're going to take care of that person, how you're going to manage that patient when there's no power and you can't use that lift device. When you're preparing your home, communicate with your friends and with your neighbors, because some of the things that may need to be done outside of the home, you may not be able to do by yourself. So communicate early and have a budget, so if you need to pay for help, you can do that. But you may need trees trimmed, you may need gutters cleaned, you might need storm shutters looked at to find out if they're still in good repair, but do those things early. Plan for what you're going to do with any outside, like yard ornaments, items that might become a flying object in high wind. There are certainly some home supplies that you may want to consider. Electric cords that are in good repair, and know the length of those and have them in a ready available place. Do you have a tarp, or do you need a tarp? Is your garage cleaned and organized so that when a storm is coming, you can get the things into the home that need to be brought in from the outside? Do you have a generator? Have you checked it this year? Does your generator run? Do you have proper storage of fuel? Know how to use it, and you know the wattage, because it's probably not going to run your own home. I know that there are people who have large generators like that, but most generators are meant to run just a few electrical appliances, and you're going to want to make sure it's 20 feet away from your home when you do use your generator, because carbon monoxide is, of course, a lethal gas. Do you know what electrical appliances it's able to run? You'll want to make sure you're prepared to use your generator well before the storm arrives. Also know how to turn off various electrical appliances that you're not going to use during the storm. You're not going to be washing dishes, you're not going to be washing clothes or using your dryer during the storm. So go ahead and turn those off at the fuse box, and that helps decrease the risk for a surge on the electrical system when power does come back on. Before the storm arrives, early in the storm season, it's a good idea to go through your storm kit, and it's nice to just have a checklist in that storm kit and make sure that you do have everything in there and that it's in good order. And we'll go through the storm kit a little bit later. Just before the storm arrives, you're going to want to determine, are we staying home? Are we going to evacuate? And then you need to do that. If you're going to evacuate, you need to make sure you get your evacuation plan started. Make sure you've got your vehicles fueled, charge your electronic devices, make sure all your windows are completely closed and locked, and then secure the outside of your home. If you're worried you might lose water pressure, go ahead and fill your bathtub with water so you can flush your toilet. You'll also want to make sure that you got your freezer packs in your deep freeze so that those will be already frozen by the time the storm arrives. During the event, that's when you're going to want to make sure you got your weather radio up and running and turned on so you can stay in tune with what's happening. You want to have your phone on the low power mode, turn off the appliances that you're not going to be using, be prepared for that power loss and know how to report it, and stay indoors. Don't go out for a ride in the car to survey and look around the neighborhood, and don't go out and check your yard after the storm has started. After the event, if you have lost power and haven't been able to report it, now is the time to go ahead and report that. If you're going to be using the generator, make sure it's well away from the home and that you're using it safely. If you do go out for cleanup, don't go into standing water because you never know how deep it is. You don't know if there are power lines that are in that water. It is dirty water, it's not clean water, and you don't know what wildlife has been misplaced into that water. After the storm, often there are still curfews, sometimes for a couple of days, depending on how severe the storm is, and that's to help keep the roads clear for utility crews and cleanup crews and emergency workers. So do obey those curfews. So now let's talk a little bit about storm kits or emergency kits and what you can prepare ahead of time and what you need to gather at the last minute. I recommend having a list of things that you will want to grab at the last moment and have that list already in your storm kit. Things you're going to want to collect at the last minute if you're going to be leaving your home are going to be your prescription medications, any over-the-counter medications, if you need glasses or contacts or solution or dental items. Make sure that your animals are ready to go, that you have a collar and leash for them, and gather any perishable items. You can just put those in a cooler. A list of documents and information is nice to have in your kit, so you've got everybody's personal information, their medical information, any medications and allergies, the names and phone numbers of physicians. If you've got a family member that has a do not resuscitate form, you're going to want to make sure that gets put in your kit. And then, of course, pet information and vaccine information for your pets. You may want to include your homeowner's policy information, maybe the number and the phone number of a contact person. That's information that you can have ahead of time and have those copies just in your kit. Other items you can have in your kit that are collected ahead of time would be flashlights, batteries, non-perishable items, pre-packaged foods, crackers or cereal or peanut butter, peanuts. Those are nice things that are less perishable and you can keep in the kit for a longer period of time. Of course, batteries and your weather radio, cash. Oftentimes if power is lost, those credit card machines aren't going to work anyway. A cell phone charger and the plug-in brick, and then food and beverages that are more perishable. You'll want to have a gallon of water for each person. If you do have pets, you'll want to have a furry friends bucket, and you might want to have an extra collar, an extra leash, maybe a muzzle, your pet food and water in that, and a bowl for your pet. If you have a cat, you're going to want a cat carrier, and you'll want a kitty litter box and some litter for them, and have all those in an area ready to go as well. In closing, I hope I brought some information to you that maybe you didn't have about preparing for a storm. If you've got someone that needs extra help in your home, and what a great resource hospice can be to help that individual. And if I've missed something or you've got a question, please drop it in a comment below. Thank you for watching. Bye now.